But in Ghana, a lot of people make the mistake of they leave their jobs back where they're coming from, pack up everything, and then move with absolutely no understanding of the way the market is. That is a huge mistake because you're gonna be so frustrated that you may pack your bags and go back, which I have seen people do. Wow, now I'm here and I don't have my apartment, I don't have the job back there for the safety net, I have to make it work. And I went through a really difficult time. It is not Deti December in Ghana all year long. People are not doing all of those things, you're not partying and all that kind of stuff. Living in Accra is not cheap. Accra is more expensive than you expect for an African country. So people get really surprised by that when they come. So a lot of people don't know that it is 1 year rent up front that a lot of these landlords are asking for. Some of them are asking for 2 years and they're asking for it in US dollars. My name is Ivy Prosper and I am a creator, I'm a motivator, I'm an African. Sometimes I like to call myself one of the most influential people in Ghana that people don't know. I say that because I am the woman who's been behind the digital campaign for Ghana's Beyond the Return as well as Year of Return campaign. So since 2019, all of the things that you've been seeing on the social media pages for Year of Return and Beyond the Return has been me. I'm the woman behind it. I have been responsible for some of the viral videos and clips and stuff that have gone out and encouraged people to come to Ghana. Now, I didn't start that with them. I already had started doing it on my own. I started creating on my Instagram pages and on my YouTube page, talking about my experiences in Ghana and sharing tips about coming to Ghana. And so from that, I've been just constantly sharing a lot of information. And I also wrote a book called Your Essential Guide on Moving to Ghana because people were asking me so many questions about coming to this country and what it's like, what they should expect. And I have some truths in there, realities, ways that you need to adjust, things that you should do before you come and then once you get here. So as a creator, I like to tell stories. And I think I've always been creative my whole life with writing, with public speaking. I also am an experienced producer and a TV host. So I've done a lot of things that are encompassed within the scope of being a creator and a storyteller. So my relationship to Ghana, people often ask me, I was actually born in this country. We immigrated to Canada just before my second birthday. So I spent the majority of my life living in Canada, and I also lived in the US for a short period of time too. And then now I live in Ghana. So that's my connection with Ghana. So my parents, when they immigrated to Canada with me, initially my dad went and then my mom and myself followed after. So him and his friends, they all worked at Valco. A lot of Ghanaians will know that company. And at the time, the Canadian government was looking for certain skills. And so my dad and his friends happened to have the skills that they were looking for. And so they used that to apply for their visas to go to Canada. And so that was the premises of what I know behind why they decided to immigrate. And also because it was a new opportunity, somewhere new to try and see. And so they did. Well, for me, I don't remember because I was not even 2 years old. So I don't really have a memory of childhood in Ghana. So I basically grew up as a Canadian. And so when I was about, I think 6 or 7, we traveled to Ghana as a family. And so I have memories of that experience. You know, just like meeting people, meeting family members. I remember picking coconuts off the tree and just having fun because I was a kid and kids always find a way to enjoy themselves. So that's what I remember of that. And then it was later in life when I started coming to Ghana on my own. In my 20s, I came and that was a really good experience, actually. I spent time at my aunt's house, my grand aunt, Ghanaians would say grandmother, my grand aunt, so my grandma's sister. I spent a couple of months at her place, spent some time with other family members as well, my uncle, and I think that probably planted a seed for Ghana subconsciously because at the time I didn't think of Ghana as a place that I would come to move to eventually. I thought of it as a place that I would just come and visit. Growing up in Canada was, it was a good experience. I don't have anything bad to say about life in Canada, but I will say that people think there's no racism in Canada, and it does exist. I strongly remember a lot of racist incidents going to school. My brother and I getting on the school bus and being called the N-word, being teased for having the dark skin, people saying that we were dirty and that's why we were dark, people saying that we smelled because we were dark. And I had someone who was always constantly bothering me every day. Like it was tough, mentally tough, going through that. And then as an adult, a lot of racist experience that you have, in the workplace and different places in your life. A lot of it is subtle, undercover, not as blatantly open as it is in the US. The US tends to have more violent responses to racism. Canada's a lot of systematic and microaggressions, as they call it. And but overall, growing up in Canada, one of the things that I really enjoyed was my dad and his friends all moving from Ghana to Canada and having worked at Valco. They maintained their relationships with each other. And so what happened was, as a result, all of us ended up building relationships. They became like family. And we had this Valco Family Association. And we all would get together, the parents, the kids, like we started to grow up together, and it was like, people were like my cousins. Even though we weren't blood related, they were my cousins. And we would spend time with each other. Like we would always go to their house, they would come to our house. The parents would be upstairs having fun, and the kids would be downstairs in the house playing with games and all that kind of stuff, or outside if it was summer. So, and then we had these annual picnics in the park, and then Christmas parties as well. So growing up, I think I had a good childhood. Yeah. It was great because with that bonding, we learned our Ghanaian heritage and culture. We didn't forget where we were from because it was constantly in our face. And with the music, like when I'm here in Ghana and somebody plays some old school high life music, I know the music because my parents and their friends were playing it at parties and dancing. And so I know the songs just as well as the Ghanaians do here who grew up here. So we did have that element of knowing our culture and the language too. Like I know Tree because my mom and dad spoke it around us, and people would always speak it around us. Ghanaians would speak Tree a lot. So I think I had a good balance of knowing I was Ghanaian while being a Canadian at the same time. Mm-hmm. So the first time I came without family, I was 25, but it wasn't a conscious thing that I had decided to do. It was something that my mom had said, that, you've graduated university, you should go to Ghana. So it wasn't me who had the conscious decision to do it. Funny enough, 2011, again, it was my mom again in 2011. I was going through some challenges and stuff. So I came in 2003, and then 2011. Yeah, so 2011 when I came, that again was my mom giving me the idea to come to refresh my mind because I was going through some challenges. And, but so I'll say it was 2016 when I consciously decided, because 2011, 12, 13, I was living in Ghana. And it was great. It was a really great foundational experience. But I always had in my mind the possibility of going back. So it was 2016 when I consciously was like, I'm making the move, because I got rid of my apartment, I sold some stuff, put some things in storage, and then I came. So that was when I consciously made the move. What made me decide that it was time to make the move was the fact that, so the experiences I had from 2011 to 2013 were really good. Like I really had some really great experiences, and I happened to fall in love with someone. So I was in a relationship with someone, and through that, he and I talked about starting a life together in Ghana. At the point that I was back in Canada, he also had left Ghana to go to the US. So the plan to come back to Ghana was always there. So I came back in 2016, 50% was I saw that there was opportunities to come to Ghana. I saw that the potential of Africa and changing the narrative of Africa was there. And I'll say the other 50% was the potential of the relationship. So that's what motivated me. Also, working in Canada, I was working at a job. So I was doing freelance work at an African TV station, but it's freelance. So it wasn't permanent, wasn't full-time. So I was doing, when things come up, I would go and do some red carpet interviews, interview people here and there, but there wasn't a consistency in it. So I had to maintain a regular day job, a full-time job that I was working. And that full-time job I was working was one that I really didn't like. And so sometimes I would be sitting at work and like, oh, I don't want to be here. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is what I'm doing. And that frustration would motivate me to think, you know what, maybe I should make the move. And eventually I did. I feel like I had the honeymoon phase in 2011, 12, and 13. That was the honeymoon phase. Even though there was a break in between of me leaving and coming back, 2011 to 2013 was definitely a honeymoon phase. Everything was, I wouldn't say everything, but a lot of things went well, went smoothly. And 2016, I was expecting the same thing. So I arrived and was like, whoo, I'm here. And so the first few weeks, I did have that same honeymoon phase feeling. And then it quickly changed. It quickly was like the opportunity I had an opportunity with a local TV station. But when I got here, that opportunity was gone because that station got bought out by another station. And then I was trying to find my way, trying to find work. Now, all those people who, when I was out, were like, hey, Ivy, hey, come to Ghana. Hey, there's so much going on in Ghana. Come to Ghana. When are you coming to Ghana? Then it's like 99.9% of those people disappeared. Where were they? So it was like, wow, now I'm here and I don't have my apartment. I don't have the job back there for the safety net. I have to make it work. And I went through a really difficult time. Because it's one of those things where if you're not expecting it, it can really it's like it knocks you out. And people look at me now and they think, oh, wow, Ivy, oh, things are so easy for you. And oh, wow, look at you. You're doing this, you're doing that. I see you everywhere. They don't know that I had some serious, deep challenges in 2016 through to early 2017 that pushed me to the breaking point. And then finally in I think it was end of February, so from October 2016 so end of February 2017 was when I got the opportunity to work with a film production company, and things and I haven't looked back. So that was a great opportunity that led to so many things and so many experiences that I really appreciate here in Ghana. And I look forward to so much more of those. But yeah, so when that happened and I worked with them for a couple of years, doing a lot of documentary film production, that was really, really good. And that's not to say that once that happened, that nothing else, that everything was perfect, because it wasn't, because Ghana still has its challenges. A lot of people, the systems that you deal with, people being late all the time, and just the challenges. Because what happens here is there's a thing with networking that is so huge, and networking is really important around the world when you do business, period. It's not exclusive to Ghana. But what I find unique about Ghana is the whole school connection. Like, people will connect on, they went to the same primary school, they went to the same high school, but that's not something that I was used to. I'm used to, like, people don't care about what primary school you went to. People don't care about what high school you went to, in Canada and in the US. They care about what are you doing now? What do you bring to the table? What skills do you have? Yes, networking works there. Yes, when you know someone, it helps you out over there as well. But I find here the school element is like next level. People have WhatsApp platforms with their schoolmates, and people, I was with somebody once at an event, and we were just talking to this older woman, And she was like around retirement age and just talking about the marketing industry in Ghana. And then she found out that she went to Wesley Girls School. And these are people who have a 30-year age gap between them. They didn't go to the same school at the same time, 30-year difference. And she finds out, oh, you went to Wesley Girls? Oh, wow. I'm going to connect you with someone. Now, because of that, she's connecting her to someone just because they went to the same school and they didn't even go at the same time. So it's not like they've crossed paths. So that whole connection with school is really, really huge in Ghana. And it's something I do not have. And so it's one of the challenges that people moving from outside of Ghana face when they come here. They realize that trying to build a network is one of the most challenging things. Is it's very cliquish. It is very cliquish, and people don't realize that it can be very cliquish. I think accepting that people are always late is one of the toughest things for me. I still have a difficulty accepting that because you want productivity to happen. And when it's running in a time, that's when it happens. But when you have lateness all the time, it makes it really, really difficult. But it's one of the things I've had to accept is that people are always late here. But it's been difficult. One of the things that I've had to change is changing the way I speak sometimes, because sometimes people don't understand me. And I'm like, how can you not understand me? I know that there's people who watch movies and they listen to people, and I mean, you can't understand me. So sometimes I've found that I've had to change how I say something, like the accent or the what's the word I'm looking for? The pronunciation of things. So like, for example, when I used to host a TV show here called the Maternal Health Channel TV series, and I would be like in front with the mic and I'm like, here we are at the hospital. And then it would like, cut. You can't say hospital. You have to say hospital. You have to have that T pronounced because people won't get you. So those little things that sometimes I have to change the way I say things so that people understand what I'm saying. So that's something that I've had to do, is that. And then also learning that people are more into relationship even when it comes to business. Because one of the things I find is, like, in North America, I can easily, when it comes to business, just get to the point. Like, just be like, okay, so now this and this and this and this. And we're just getting to the point. We're moving, we're shaking, we're doing what needs to be done. But in Ghana, you've got to massage the relationships. So, hello, how are you doing? I'm fine. Hope you're well. All those kinds of things. I mean, it can be a good thing because it means that you care about them as human beings. You're building relationship. So that is very important here in Ghana. If you just always get to the point, people will think that you're rude. I had people tell me that I was rude before because I was just getting to the point, especially in a WhatsApp chat. So with the work that I do, I am really on a mission of changing the narrative of Africa, as well as sharing experiences so that people who want to make a move or just want to travel to the continent have some ideas and some solid, realistic advice on what to expect. So with some of my work, as I had mentioned, I'm the social media manager for Ghana's Year of Return and Beyond the Return campaigns. And in doing that work, I do my best to write captions and find content that find and create content that connects with both the global African diaspora community and the continental African community, because it's all about bridging the gap between those audiences. So I do my best to be able to create content, capture things that will resonate with both groups. And I feel like in me doing that, I've been very impactful in teaching on both sides about each other, as well as showcasing some of the things that are happening here so that people who are abroad have the opportunity to also see some of the things that happen here. And for my YouTube creating, I do much of the same, trying to create content that connects with the diaspora community in particular, because my audience is largely from the diaspora. Most of the people who watch my channel are from the US, Germany, Canada, UK, and then I do have the mixture of Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and parts of Europe. Even I have people watching from Iceland and Estonia, and I'm just like, wow, really? People are watching from there as well, and Malta and different places. So I do have a diverse mix, but the large chunk comes from the US, Canada, Germany, the UK is a large part of my audience. So I do focus on trying to get stories that I think will resonate with them, that they'll be interested in, things that are happening in Ghana. And I do have plans to expand beyond Ghana and go to other African countries as well in the future too. So my book, Your Essential Guide on Moving to Ghana, is available on Amazon. And I wrote that book because I was getting asked the same questions over and over and over. Like, I'll open my DM and it's the same question about moving to Ghana or about visiting Ghana. And so here I am typing the same thing over and over again, typing the same thing. And then I, at one point, copy and pasted what I was saying. And so I could just paste it and not always be stressing about typing the same thing. And then it got to the point where it was like, you know what? This can easily be put into one place. And that's when the book came out. So I actually spent a solid 2 weeks in the library writing and writing and writing and wrote the book. And yeah, so far I've had some good response to it. I have a lot of great reviews on the book. People find it very informative. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they are moving to Ghana is they come with a mindset that it's going to be the same transition, a simple transition, as if they were moving to where they're coming from. So for instance, if I was to move from Canada to the US, I know I can easily move and be like job searching in the same capacity and finding jobs that would be the same or similar pay scale as what I would see in Canada, or maybe more. But in Ghana, a lot of people make the mistake of they leave their jobs back where they're coming from, pack up everything, and then move with absolutely no understanding of the way the market is. That is a huge mistake, because you're gonna be so frustrated that you may pack your bags and go back, which I have seen people do. So I talk about how you should have a plan and have a savings of at least 6 months to a year, because you won't find a job right away. Or I also advise people that you should look for work before you come. So if you can get a job offer before you come, and that way that job offer, you have more leverage for it to be leveraged in your home salary, because some companies pay in US dollars, some pay in British pounds, if that's where you're coming from. For example, I knew somebody who worked with a private school and they recruited her from the UK, and when she worked in Ghana, they were paying her in British pounds. So it made her transition much easier, and she was able to still live a lifestyle similar to what she was used to in the UK. Because contrary to popular belief, living in Accra is not cheap. Accra is more expensive than you expect for an African country. So people get really surprised by that when they come. So mistakes is making sure that you know what your source of income is going to be, because a lot of people don't do that. They just come. So once you know, let's say you can do remote work, because a lot of people are doing that now, especially post-COVID. There's a lot more companies willing. So you could be working remotely for a company from your home country when you come. It makes life a lot easier, because the salaries in Ghana are a lot lower than they are from coming from the US or coming from Europe, Canada. They are a lot less. So you can't come here and expect to be making the same money as you were back home, unless you're in a high level position working in like oil and gas, tech. There's certain industries that you can make similar money if you're in a high level position. Like if you're working for Shell, I think their subsidiaries Vivo in Ghana. If you're working for them, perhaps you'll be making a lot of money as well, because you might be in a high level position and they may pay you in your foreign currency. So these are all things you have to do, is take your time, do your research, because a lot of people don't do their research. Don't use just a couple of posts you've seen on Instagram or some posts you've seen on YouTube that people are having a good time and partying as your decision maker in making the move. It is not Dirty December in Ghana all year long. People are not doing all of those things, not partying and all that kind of stuff. Real life comes after, where people are working, people are doing the day-to-day. Yes, Ghanaians love to party, because I tell you, all year long, people are going to parties all night in Ghana, not at the same scale as December, but just know that people are living normal lives. So take your time and do your research before making the move. Generally speaking, like the things that I was talking about, the mistakes people make. So people come and they haven't planned. And then instead of saying, you know what, I didn't plan and that's why this didn't work, they'll rather blame Ghana and say Ghana is this, Ghana is that, when perhaps it's you didn't plan before you came, and that's why things are tough. So there was somebody who came and didn't realize that private school costs a lot of money in Ghana for kids. And they wanted their kids to have a curriculum that was similar to a US curriculum. And so realizing how expensive it is to raise kids here, it was like, no, I can't do this. I can't say I have to go back. And yeah, there's a little bit of shame in going back, because some people feel like when they go back, they feel like they failed, especially because the people who they left behind, who are like, oh, you said you were going to Africa and now you're back already. It must not have been that great. So it's almost like they feel like they're helping to perpetuate a negative image of it not being a great place to live. So there's a sense of shame with it. But I don't think people should be ashamed. If it doesn't work out for you, then it's fine. Things don't work out for everybody, and it's not meant for everybody. You know, one thing I say is, even though I encourage people moving to Ghana or other African countries, I also say it's not for everyone to move. Some people, you just need to come for a holiday. Some people, you just need to come and just see it, enjoy it, have fun, and go back. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not meant for everybody to move. If you want to invest in business, that's also great. You can come, you can do some exporting business. You're having business, you come and have a good time. I know somebody who does that now, comes to Ghana, has a good time while doing business, getting all the products needed, and then going back to the US and then selling the product and making a lot of money selling the product. And then when it's time to come back, this person comes back and does the same thing. I know people who do that. They enjoy it while they're here. They say that they know they couldn't live here, but they enjoy the time they're here, and they enjoy having a business that supports local people, local artisans who are creating and able to sell their stuff to an audience that they may not have had access to. So there's a balance. It's different for everyone. Not everyone's meant to move here. One of the areas that can take a lot of your money in Ghana is rent. A lot of people don't know that it is 1 year rent up front that a lot of these landlords are asking for. Some of them are asking for 2 years, and they're asking for it in US dollars. You know, me coming from Canada, I'm used to a system where they only ask you for 2 months up front. The US, the same thing, 2 months up front, which is they call first month's rent and last month's rent. And that's what you pay, and then you can move in. But it's not the case here. Even though the law says 6 months is the maximum they can ask for, people are asking for 1 year and 2 year. And so can you imagine if you had, let's say you came to Ghana and you had $50,000 in your savings, and now a chunk of that has gone to rent. Now you're left with less money to move around and do things with your day-to-day. So you don't have as much disposable income because of rent. And a lot of people don't know that that's the case. So it's something to prepare for. Also understanding that Ghana is a cash society. A lot of people coming from abroad are used to using credit cards, using debt, loans to be able to service things so that they can do things like get cars, buy homes. You know, mortgages are here in Ghana, but the interest rates are so extremely high that it makes it seem like unrealistic. So a lot of people will just save the money and pay cash for their properties. Same with cars. Car loans here are few and far between, and where they do exist, interest rates are high, like 30%. And so people would rather save the money and pay cash up front. So can you imagine you've come and you want a car and you want a house and you've got to pay cash up front? That takes away a lot of your money. So it's one of the things that people don't know to plan for when they come to Ghana. And it's also part of why I say to save at least 6 months to a year up front so that you have at that before you make your move. The other thing is start to learn what the local prices are. When you find out what the local prices are, then you're able to manage your money in a certain way, because people don't know and they might get overpriced. And then I'll say this, one of the things I noticed, a lot of times Americans think that they're the only ones that are getting ripped off when it comes to high prices, you know, when you go to the market or whatever. It's not just Americans, they do it to everyone. You know, a Ghanaian told me that he's from the north, and when they come from the north and they hear your accent is a little bit different, they know, oh, this person's not from Accra. They don't know what the prices are in Accra, so let's tell them this price. So they do it as long as they think you're not from the area and you don't know, they'll do it. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. So once a local in the area tells you, let's say it's an avocado and it's supposed to be, let's say it's supposed to be 10 cities, and you know it's supposed to be 10, and you go somewhere and they tell you 15. Now you know, no, it's not 15, it's supposed to be 10. So now you know what you're working with, and it helps you budget your money better so that your money doesn't go quickly. Because even though you're $1 or Canadian, UK pound, British, the euro, even though one gives you a lot in Ghanaian cities, you see it go quickly because the money it just goes. Like stuff is not it's not as cheap as you think it would be. When you're here on vacation, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But once you actually live here, and if you keep going to the same places, sometimes eventually you're like, wow, my money's going really quickly. And then you realize you got to take the time to make a budget. You can get my book on Amazon. It is on Amazon. Just type Your Essential Guide on Moving to Ghana, and it pops up in Amazon. Or you type my name, Ivy Prosper, and it pops up. I don't have it available physically in stores. Right now it's only on Amazon. And someone told me it was on, I heard it was on Walmart's page as well. Not sure if it's still there in their book section. Yeah, what was the last question? You can find me, my website is ivyprosper.com, my YouTube channel, Ivy Prosper, and all my social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and my Facebook page, and my TikTok, Ivy Prosper. I make it simple for everyone. I have been doing some consulting sessions with people who want to move. I haven't done it in a long time, but yes, I am open to doing consulting sessions. I also have partnered with Location Accra. I do curate trips for people. Particularly, I've been working on trips for women because there's a lot of women who ask me questions about coming to Ghana, especially women, single women who want to come and travel. So I'm open to that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That was really good.